final guest is Joe Hoffman. Dude, today I'm going to make Jason make you do it now. I want to see.
What's
how
that?
I want to see how you do it.
What's your problem?
Joe Hoffman, it's wonderful to have you here. I love your shoes.
Thank you. I saw you had some on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, you've gone with the suede though. So.
You look good too. I like the jacket. Man.
Thank you. I've gone with the RMs and the miraculous metal, so I could kind of halfway between the two of you.
Where are you from? And
I'm born and bred Sydney. Grew up in Penrith. I grew up in the Servants of Jesus community. It's a charismatic ecumenical community. I study at the University of Sydney, and I'm one of the 8 guys that had the privilege of living in Sumner House this year, which is a Sydney Archdiocese house for guys discerning God's vocation for them. So
very cool.
I'm also a massive fan. Jason, I've read Pure Manhood probably 1,000 times. There was just copies of it littered all around my school for as long as I can remember. And If You Really Loved Me, I've read that book a couple of times as well. It's amazing. Matt, you're cool too as well. But I will say, I think we all appreciate that you're in the States and you're like representing authentic Australia with your RMs and your Tim Tams and everything except the actual living in Australia part.
Yeah. Was Jason at your school? Is that how you got all the books, or did someone just take the books too?
It's a para ed school. It's called Wollomai College, and you came to speak at a school called Redfield College, and we got to see you when I was about in year 8. And I remember you had this thing where you picked up this guy and you walked to the edge of the stage about talking about how far should you go, how close to the line should you go. Yeah. Never forgot it. It was great. And you got him to wear a wig. It was great.
How many men have you picked up, would you say?
About 3,000.
Really?
Is that how you hit the deadlifting record?
Yeah, no, my biggest guy I ever picked up was 385 pounds. So that was my record so far. So, but I probably picked up about 3,000 guys. I did 2 already today, so 3,002 or whatever.
Wow. All right, what do you want to talk about?
So I'm one of 4. I have 3 sisters, and growing up, one of them's here tonight. Growing up, I think my conflict resolution skills had to rapidly progress. And then I thought I was pretty good at this conflict resolution thing, got to university, got involved in the pro-life movement, and all of a sudden realised that I'm terrible at it. Because I live in a beautiful bubble, which is a great thing to live in. But it's a bit of an echo chamber where my beliefs, and from a pro-life perspective, I'm coming in this question. My beliefs, my thoughts, I'm very passionate about this issue, but I'm coming into contact with people, and it feels like I have my iceberg over here, and at the top, above the water I'm saying I'm pro-life, I'm trying to engage in discussion, but underneath that is my worldview, my feelings, my experiences, my thoughts. And I'm coming up against someone else, and at the top of their iceberg they have, I'm pro-choice, I care about women's rights, and you hate women's rights. And I'm trying to have these conversations with them, but I'm getting nowhere. They're getting emotional, and I feel like I'm not able to break because they, underneath their iceberg, have their thoughts, feelings, emotions, worldview. Hot tips and tricks on trying to have really hard, important conversations, but not falling off that line between truth and love. I don't want to fall too far to love and forget truth, because truth will set you free, and without truth it's not love. But I don't want to fall too far into the camp of only truth and the person that I love is standing in front of me, Christ's child, treating it like a Stephen Crowder debate. So how do you care about the person and the facts?
Well, I don't know if you've ever done this, Jason, but sometimes when my wife and I will get into an argument, we've done it once, but if it's not going anywhere, I think I've done this a few times, like, okay, how about you tell me what I'm trying to say, okay? And then I'll tell you what I think you're trying to say, and so it's a way of, I feel like you're not hearing me is basically the point, right? And so she'll say it, and I might be like, no, that's not what I'm saying, and maybe it's my fault, so I have to re-articulate it. And I imagine that kind of tactic would only happen if both of you feel safe enough to engage in an kind of adversarial conversation, where you can say, okay, so you're saying that you love women, you feel like women are oppressed, and in order for them to be free, they need reproductive rights so that they can achieve those things in a sort of uninhibited way so that they can be maybe on the same plane as men. Is that what you mean, or is that not it? Oh, that's not it. Okay, so help me understand, you know. I just feel like if someone seriously tried to take my worldview seriously, I would feel honored by that. And they weren't just trying to straw man my position. So I wonder if that could be a tactic, but also a way to really try to understand where people are coming from, because most people, I think it's fair to say, don't hold to things they know are in direct defiance of truth. I think most of us believe things we may not have great reasons to believe them, but we have some reasons, and we can usually sympathize where people are coming from. Okay, yeah, I can see why you might think that. And I wonder if in a meeting with somebody, if you just in your mind decided, I'm not even going to put forth my opinion unless I feel morally obligated to, but in this conversation, all I'm going to do is just try to understand where they're coming from and see if I can say that back to them in a way that they're like, yes, yes. You go, okay, cool, thank you for explaining that to me. Because I think when we feel heard, we're a lot more open to hearing.
Yeah. I did a talk, last night on gender, and that's obviously a very similar volatile issue with very polar viewpoints. And people often ask me, okay, if I get an opportunity to talk to someone like that, what's the one thing I should say? Like, what's that silver bullet that I can kind of shoot at them? I said, okay, what we're trying to do is I want you to have a conversation with them so that when they walk away from you, they feel, wow, that person really listened to me. I felt heard by the church, perhaps for the first time in my life. That we so often think of terms of, okay, what's that thing I gotta say? What's that perfect argument, that line of reasoning that's gonna get them to make that U-turn, when many times it's the experience of being perplexed, of wait a minute, I've always thought that like those, Catholic, transphobic people just hated me, but like, that person actually cared what I had to say. Like Matt said, that reflexive listening, that we're actually bouncing back to them what they just said. And so you don't need to win the argument at the end of the day. If you can get them to walk away feeling the church has ears and they actually care what I have to say, and I have someone actually listening to me, they're so much more likely to come back to you and have that conversation, to go a little bit deeper. Because in the end, you could argue with someone who's pro-choice till they're blue in the face and feel like I just got nowhere and just be done with that. I'm like, man, I was like a half hour of just arguing and I'm just agitated and I feel like neither one of us budged an inch. But understand, sometimes people can put up walls so high, you have to go up to heaven to get over it. And what that means is prayer, fasting, intercession. And we're also focused on do. How do I break down that wall? You might not be able to, but you can make it rain on the other side with some intercession that might bear fruit with healing in a month or a year or two from now. And so just make sure, I've had these conversations and they just feel so agitating and frustrated because you're like, why can't they see the truth? And it's so clear and we just got nowhere. Try to just invest a little bit more time making them feel heard. And I think a lot of times that can go a long way to open hearts.
It was like 2 nights ago. I don't know if the fella's here now. You can go, woo, if you were. Well, no, you don't know yet, so stop it. He came up to me.
He's an RCIA.
Delayed reaction. This guy came up to me and he said, hey, you don't know me, but I came to your talk in Brisbane a couple of years ago, and I was an atheist, and I had my hand up and I was kind of objecting to some of the things you were saying, and I just want you to know that I'm a Catholic now. And it wasn't because of the brilliant things I said. I'd like to think it was, but I don't think it was. But to your point that I really don't know. It might seem like there's no way this person will ever change their mind, like this fella. But like, let's say I was a jerk to this guy, and then he changed his mind. It's like, I don't want to be like that. Like, I would much rather him say to me, you were really kind to me, even though I was kind of being aggressive, And so I want to, What do you think?
Yeah, wow. I think it would be nice. I kind of probably was expecting more of a silver bullet answer than the listen. But it would be nice to have the silver bullet. I used to, before doing pro-life events on campus, I used to watch like 3 hours of like Ben Shapiro and like apologetics the night before, just to like really be brushed up. But I think you're absolutely right. I think probably the next thing I'd say, sorry.
There's a real quick statement. Jimmy Akin once told me, I love it. He says, he who is convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. In other words, you can argue someone and show them why they're wrong, and maybe they'll have to kind of give in. But if they really haven't, If they just feel bludgeoned, then they're not going to change their mind.
Yeah. And a lot of these things, especially on the pro-life thing, they can be so deeply personal and sensitive. I mean, you could be having a debate with somebody, and what you don't know is that that person was actually sexually abused when she was 16, and she actually got pregnant. And she did have an abortion.
Yeah.
And her life would have been very different if she had that baby. And she feels like if she were to have had that child, it would have been like almost endorsing the rape and letting the wounds, the depth that you're dealing with. And you're thinking, okay, what's the silver bullet argument? It's just like, this person just needs tenderness and love and understanding. And she's not going to be vulnerable enough with me to disclose the full story of what she's been through. I remember being at the March for Life in Canada, and we were just marching down the street after the talk, and there was a woman standing in the street corner howling and screaming at the protesters from the depths of her being. And it was like a sound like I'd never heard before. And it was just like, it's very clearly a post-abortive woman just crying out from the depths of her soul with these wounds and just throwing the anger that she couldn't process towards herself or to maybe what someone had done to her. And so she just projected that onto the pro-lifers. And so we could be dealing with so much more than just give me a really good pro-life argument and I'm going to join the camp.
Yeah, 100%. I would say that, especially in these pro-life discussions, between love and truth, like if you had to pick one, probably lean towards love, especially because of that. And I think I realized that maybe I was going into it with the objective of, I did debating in high school, like this is going to be fun, you know. And I think if you're enjoying it, maybe doing it slightly wrong. It should be like a chore to really try and get into that compassionate mindset when you're talking to these people.
I think what you mean though is it's not love and truth that you want to put in opposition. I think what you mean is like truth and politeness, right? Because love without truth isn't love.
Yeah.
And truth without love is just harshness or something. It's love and truth have to always go together. But maybe what you mean is, you know, I want to say the truth even if it's impolite, and that is, I think there is some virtue in that. But
yeah, and honestly, I think we have enough culture warriors right now that are very intelligent, that can articulate things very well, but have no clue how to listen. I think we've got enough of those.
Just the speakers, not listeners. What are you talking about?
No. I mean, but it's just that's why God gave us twice as many ears as mouths. So,
thanks, brother.
Thank you.